Hello everyone, this is Shaitan bringing you game number 2 between NesTea and BratOk from the BlizzCon2011 Invitational. NesTea currently holds a 1-0 lead in the best of 3 series, having won game number 1 on Antigua Shipyard using an Ultralisk based army composition. BratOk was not able to hold off the swarm with just Marine Tank. I would have liked to see him maybe make some Marauders and Ghosts, but unfortunately he fell. We'll see if he can turn it around here in game number 2 on Shakuras Plateau. So over here in the bottom left hand corner we have the Teal Zerg, Incredible Miracles, NesTea. And in the bottom right position we have the Yellow Terran, Imbalance FX Opens, BratOk. Now this map is interesting for ZvT as the architecture allows a few unique strategy options that aren't really present on other maps. For example, a 2-racks opening on Shakuras Plateau has the unique option of being able to bunker off this entire ramp with 3 bunkers, blocking off the surface area for half of the bunkers from Zerglings, making it a very effective method to cheese out your opponent if you can get those 3 bunkers down. So if that is something that's going to occur, NesTea is going to need to get a drone to block the placement of at least one of those bunkers, or it could be GG very, very early. We see that BratOk is dropping down a barracks at 12, however it doesn't look like he's going to be doing anything too aggressive as he is getting a factory on 13 at the normal, or a refinery at 13 on the normal time. Meanwhile, NesTea is getting the very standard 15 hatch. We'll see if he decides to be greedy again and make a couple of drones before he drops down the pool. He's already back up to 15, now 16, so having made 2 drones after the hatchery before making the spawning pool, but it looks like he's going to be making the spawning pool. He hasn't dropped down an extractor or made any more drones, so we'll see what he decides to do. Meanwhile, on BratOk's side of things, the barracks is almost done. We do have the drone working in, getting into the main. He's going to be able to scout things. Oh, NesTea is actually making a drone or an extractor after all of this, building up a couple of some extra minerals, and then making another drone, and then the spawning pool. So I wonder what sort of interesting timing he has here to delay the extractor to a very high amount of minerals, then drop it down and immediately make a drone and another spawning pool. So we'll have to keep an eye on the gas timings and see exactly what he does. Meanwhile, NesTea is kind of dancing around. He's trying to keep this drone alive as long as possible, but it's not going to be long in the world. It is, however, going to see this factory going up for BratOk, which is a very critical piece of information. We'll see what BratOk decides to do, whether he's going to stay and do another Reactor Hellion opening, which is very standard for this matchup, or if he decides to do something else. He is moving the barracks over here. It's very possible he wants to build a reactor over here, so we'll have to see. The spawning pool is complete for NesTea. Meanwhile, he only has 76 gas, so I guess the timing isn't to have 100 gas by the time the spawning pool finishes, but we'll see what he decides to do. He is getting 2 queens, just macroing up in a standard way. At 100 gas, he's still mining. He's actually pulling drones off of gas at 100. He's just leaving 1 on there. We do see Zergling speed starting, so I guess he just wanted a fairly quick Zergling speed. And this is one of the ways to do that. We do see him leaving 1 gas on there. This is going to give him the option to get a Baneling Nest very soon if he sees some type of aggression going on. But he's not going to need it in BratOk's base. We see that he's actually getting a starport with only 1 refinery. It'll be interesting to see whether he decides to go for some kind of drop play with the medevac. I don't foresee that happening because BratOk only has the 2 Marines, and a 2 Marine single Hellion drop is really not that effective. But I guess we could be seeing some type of Banshee play, and we do see a tech lab going on the factory, so it's probably going to be some type of Banshee play with a follow-up command center. This Banshee is going to give BratOk map control. NesTea is not going to be able to do any sort of damage with a Roachling all in, so this is going to keep him safe from that while he gets up this expansion. It's something more uncommon than the Reactor Hellion expand, but still very viable. Also, the Banshee can swing around, maybe do some damage to these drones, but NesTea has 2 queens and a 3rd on the way. It probably won't be all that effective in doing economic damage to NesTea. Meanwhile, the Zergling speed is almost done for NesTea. NesTea is up about 3 harvesters, make that about 7 harvesters right now. Pretty standard for this phase in the game. The Hellion is coming over. It's going to be able to maybe deny creep tumors from going down here. It's going to poke up, see the queen, maybe see the spine crawler. Not really sure. We'll see if he did. It looks like he did see it, and then he's just going to leave. There is a second no, the first Banshee is almost done, and BratOk is actually going to make a second command center. It'll be interesting to see if he uses this just for increased SCV production, or if he actually floats it down and takes a very quick 3rd there, or maybe I would actually like it if he took this back third because NesTea has this Overlord, but you can easily skirt around it and take that, and it would be very difficult to break through these rocks without making a bunch of early Zerglings. Meanwhile, NesTea is just droning up. He's up to about 38, 39. He's getting both gases at his natural. It's pointing to a fairly a lair coming up fairly soon. You need that gas for all of the lair tech, and the lair actually just starts up. NesTea is also getting a macro hatchery right here. It's going to allow him to bridge the main and natural with creep without having to waste a tumor. Over in BratOk's side of things, we don't see him actually making any Marines. He has only 2 Marines, no additional barracks are going down, but only 1 factory. I mean, I suppose it's possible that he could be going for some type of mech play with, he has a Viking coming out, he's going to be able to chase out this Overlord, probably kill this Overlord, and that's all that there is really out on the map. But we might be seeing some type of mech play from BratOk, but the problem is that mech play is going to be very slow, and it's going to give time for NesTea to take the entire map. This first orbital command is moving out to take the natural. NesTea is not aware of the existence of either of those. He didn't see either of the command centers there. He doesn't know the natural is up. This Overlord is going to be taken out before it can scout anything, which means that NesTea's kind of playing in the dark. He's going to need to play very, very defensive and probably get up a Baneling Nest just in case BratOk is hiding a bunch of Marines, is hiding a lot of bio, because then he's going to need that Baneling Nest to defend against it. But the natural is up for BratOk. He transfers a bunch of his SCVs. He has fairly good saturation there. He's getting up both gases there. He is probably going to be going some type of mech variant. NesTea is getting up the Baneling Nest and the spawning, or Baneling Nest and the Spire over here. He doesn't know that BratOk is probably going for mech, and yes, we see here 2 more factories, so 3 factory mech is a very powerful attack. It sort of relies on the brute strength of the mech units. The siege tanks are very good against Zerglings and Banelings, the Thors are good against Mutalisks, and the Hellions are going to be also very good against the Zerglings. So this is going to be something very effective against a Mutaling Bling combination if NesTea decides to go for that, if he doesn't wise up to the fact that this is coming. But the problem with mech is it takes a lot of time to set up, so NesTea can, once he realizes it's coming, can feel free to expand, take his 3rd, 4th, probably even 5 bases total, and then build up the perfect army to counter this, which would probably be something like Roach, Infestor, Broodlord. So we'll see if he can realize it in time and get the appropriate army to deal with this. BratOk is sort of falling behind on SCV production. He's down 17 workers, even though he has that 3rd command center and has had it for a while. He's not producing them 3 at a time constantly. He's letting it sit idle a little bit, and this command center really isn't doing that much for him. I would have liked for him to move it out and take his 3rd base, maybe this back 3rd base after he killed the Overlord, but otherwise it's not really doing all that much for. We do have 9 Mutalisks on the way for NesTea, but BratOk is dropping down turrets with perfect timing, as well as getting no Thor on the way yet, but he does have an armory upgrading plus 1 vehicle weapon, so those are going to make the inevitable Thors when they do come out that much stronger. There is a Zergling over here. Zergling sort of scanning between the 3rd and 4th base. He wants to know when BratOk is going to take that. Meanwhile, NesTea is just spreading creep. He's using his Mutalisks to shut down this Banshee. We'll see if it's actually going to take out the Queen. They're both going to die in a blaze of glory, but NesTea shuts down that harassment. Really, BratOk is just setting up the infrastructure for his attack. He only has 2 tanks, a Marine, a Viking, a Medevac, and 4 Hellions to his name. NesTea doesn't really have all that big of an army either. 12 Zerglings, 9 Mutalisks are really all he has to speak of. So we'll see how it works. There is a drop in the main here. We see it didn't do significant amounts of damage. Most of the drones got away. It's going to be cleaned up by the Zerglings. BratOk actually killed 6, maybe 5 workers because of the first scouting SCV with that attack. So it's a pretty significant 400 minerals for 5 workers. Not really that big of a deal, especially when NesTea is at 64, going up to 74 drones. We do see that BratOk is building 2 more command centers. He's doing something kind of similar to the Griffith 4OC orbital command build, but he's doing it with mech. It'll be interesting to see how he decides to use this. If he's going to be doing this, he probably should stop SCV production right now, because he's going to be going to have mules off of, to get up to 5 command centers, which is going to give his income an incredible boost. I don't know if NesTea really knows what's going on yet. He did see the 3 factories, which means he's going to be able to transition appropriately for mech. We see him getting a 2nd Evo chamber, getting carapace, air weapons. We'll see if he has a Roach Warren up anywhere. It's not. I don't see a Roach Warren anywhere. NesTea, you really need to be getting that. Zergling Baneling is not all that effective against it. Although I guess if you're NesTea, you can just make 60 Banelings and wipe out an entire mech army. We see here NesTea is stopping the Hellion harass with his Mutalisks. He's actually getting a Roach Warren right now, along with Burrow and Air Carapace. This is exactly what NesTea needs to take out the mech army from BratOk. BratOk is going up to 5 factory with, let's see here, it looks like 3 of them with Tech Labs, 2 of them with reactors. This is going to be very, very good against the standard Zerg army, and he's going to move out slightly as he gets ready to take his 3rd base with that really fast second command center he made early on in the game. NesTea is also building the infestation pit. This is all good. He really needs all of this to defeat the mech army. BratOk is probably not going to push out until he's at around 180, 190 as mech gains strength exponentially, so this gives NesTea a bunch of time to build up his infrastructure, build up his economy, and get ready for the incoming strong push from BratOk. NesTea is taking his fourth base exactly as he needs to do. He needs to macro up, he needs to take the entire map so that when his first army loses to the mech push, he can just remax with 50, well not 50, with like 30 or so roaches and take out and kill BratOk's army with the follow-up. We do see the Hellions. Any Hellion race is being shut down by the Mutalisks, but the Mutalisks are going to die to these Thors! Oh my god, NesTea didn't maintain the magic box for the Mutalisks, so about 70% of them died to the Thors. That's actually going to be it's not that big of a deal, I suppose, for NesTea, because he hasn't continued Mutalisk production. It doesn't look like he doesn't want to go for any sort of air strength in that regard, because the Thors, the three Thors right now, the three Thors that BratOk has along with another 3 on the way are going to make quick work of any Mutalisk that NesTea has. In the worker tab, we see 97 workers to 67. I think eventually NesTea is going to need to start spine crawlering up right here to sort of delay the mech push from BratOk, because 97 spine crawlers leaves you 97 drones only leaves you 100 supply for army. We do see a command center being floated over here, as well as 2 more command centers coming down from BratOk. He's up to 6 or 7 command centers. That's going to give him a very strong economy. I wouldn't be surprised to see him either sacrifice all these SCVs really soon to boost his final army size, or to just bring them along for auto repair. That would actually be quite effective without a couple of banelings for NesTea to go in there and take out all the SCVs. Mass repair Thors are very, very difficult to take out. We also see Corvid Reactor. I believe that is the Raven the Raven energy upgrade. I'm not sure where that starport is. I can't find it anywhere. Here we go. The starting energy of Ravens is being increased. He's also getting 2 more starports. This is a really innovative play that we're seeing from BratOk. No one's really explored Raven usage that much against Zergs. We'll see how it works out. I imagine he's going to be using it for Heatseeker Missile, and that's going to be very effective against the Broodlords that NesTea appears to be heading for. NesTea is also getting a Nidus network out here in the middle of the map, probably because he wants to drop a Nidus network around here where this Mutalisk is, and then go and attack the 4th of BratOk. It could prove effective, especially with how slow and immobile BratOk's mech army is going to be. We also see +2 missile attack, +2 Carapace being researched for the Roaches, Glial Constitution going up. NesTea he has the army composition that he needs to defend it, but if BratOk decides to move out with all of those SCVs to repair, it could be very difficult for NesTea to hold it off, as the Banelings do not look like they are there. He doesn't have any. He has researched centrifugal hooks, so he will be ready to make them, so I suppose he is going to be okay there. The Nidus network is building over here. We see about 9 roaches moving, and then they just stay there. But then again, BratOk isn't responding either, so I'm not really sure what... Oh, here are some more roaches from NesTea. NesTea has about 30 roaches here, maybe? No, 24 roaches. And he's going to move down into the 4th base. BratOk is beginning to move his entire army here. I'd really like to see a Zergling counterattack from NesTea into the main, or into the 3rd, but it's not going to happen. NesTea is just going to have to take out a couple of these Hellions, maybe kill some SCVs, some missile turrets, and no, it looks like NesTea is actually just going to turn and run into the Nidus network. He might leave 1 roach burrowed here if he has burrow movement. There's a 2nd Nidus network up in the main. It looks like it's going to be taken out by the SCVs of BratOk. He's only going to be able to kill a couple of them, and now we have 3 Ravens out. He's revealed them for NesTea, which is kind of interesting. I wonder how NesTea is going to react. He's making 14 Corruptors. He's probably going to keep a couple of those as Corruptors to take out the Ravens, but otherwise he's probably going to be transitioning into Broodlords, which is exactly what you need. None of the Thors are not all that good against them. Siege tanks actually do more harm than good when they're sieged up due to splash damage. So we'll see exactly what NesTea decides to do. I'm not sure exactly what he's hoping to save this 40 supply for. He has right now only 9 roaches and 14 corruptors. He's making another 7 corruptors, and now here we see 42 Zerglings being made. I wonder if he's going to make those into Banelings. The Zergling is not going to be all that useful against Siege Tank Hellion, so I hope he makes those into Zerglings. We see Adrenal Glands being researched though, so maybe not, as well as +2 melee attacks and +2 air carapace. A Seeker Missile is being researched by BratOk, as well as another 3 Ravens. BratOk is really showing some interesting play here. We'll see how it plays out. The Ravens should make short work of the Broodlords. I can see the Heatseeker Missile with speed greater than them, greater than the Broodlords, doing significant amount of damage. We also see more command centers being built by BratOk. I think for certain he's going to have to do something with his SCVs. There's a couple of bird roaches here. This command center can't land, or couldn't have landed because of the creep, but we'll see exactly how this game pans out. Currently, BratOk's fearsome army has 4 Thors and 13 siege tanks and 23 Hellions. The Hellions are a bit of waste in supply due to the fact that there's not, well, there wasn't a terrible amount of lings out for NesTea before, but the 42 lings should be made short work of. We'll see. It all depends on when BratOk is going to move out. NesTea is now on 6 bases, so it's all probably going to come down to this first engagement. If NesTea can kill enough units, he will be able to take out the rest of it with the follow-up. There's actually 9 Ravens out with another 2 on the way. I don't think this battle is going to go all that well for NesTea. I'm not sure he might have seen this type of style before, but it might just be that this is something that he's completely unprepared for. As the Ravens, I'm not even sure what you would want to do against this. Like, pure Roach isn't going to be all that effective because the Roaches are going to take significant amount of damage from the siege tanks and from the Thors, but the Broodlords are going to just die to the Ravens. We do see that he's beginning to move out. BratOk is beginning to move out. He's not pulling any SCVs, so we now have 64 SCVs versus 85 drones, which is, a decent place to be, but I think this attack could be a lot stronger if he just brought about 30 of those SCVs out. And why wouldn't he? He has like 8 or 9 command centers right now. A couple of roaches are attacking this planetary fortress. They're going to die very, very quickly. NesTea's moving out with all of these broodlords, and we'll see exactly what he decides to do here. This is a very strong fortified position. This planetary fortress is controlling space very, very well. This engagement, I don't really like it. NesTea has none of his supporting units nearby. He doesn't really have any supporting units. Where is his macro? He has 6k, and the heat-seeking missiles are going off. They're killing so many broodlords, and now there's more corruptors, but they're not really going to do anything. NesTea lost about 6 broodlords right there. The corruptors are floating in, but he needs some supporting units. There we go. We now see 24 roaches that should have been here before. They could have done significant amount of damage to the unsieged tanks, but they weren't there before. We'll see if a delayed reinforcement push is enough. This planetary fortress is probably going to go down. How much energy do the Ravens have? They all have, almost all of them have enough for, only a couple have it for a heat-seeker missile, but the first heat-seeking missiles go off and they take out two of the broodlords. There's more ticking going on. There's more heat-seeking missiles somewhere, but it looks like the corruptors are actually going to be able to do damage to them. They fire one more, and the Vikings are coming out as well to take out the corruptors. We'll see. This is a very close battle. The Ravens, they can actually be ignored right now. They don't have enough for heat-seeking missile. The broodlords are doing significant damage to the Thors, but the mass repair is working. And I heard a Nidus noise somewhere, but it doesn't look like, I guess I just heard that. The roaches are now streaming in. It looks like they're doing damage to the siege tanks. I think NesTea is going to be able to break this, assuming he can take out all of these SCVs doing the mass report. However, he is going to be losing all of his broodlords, and that is going to be a significant investment for him. NesTea is following up with 67 Zerglings and 10 corruptors. The follow-up should be enough. I don't see any command center planetary fortresses being made here, but NesTea held off the, or I guess broke the attack from BratOk. Now, supplies are 200 to 130. It's very difficult to come back when you lose all of your units in a mech push. BratOk has actually transitioned into a bit of Sky Terran. He has 12 Ravens, 7 Vikings, he has a Banshee, he's making more Ravens, he's getting ship weapons level 2. He's making a couple of siege tanks, and there's an attack here with the roaches. The roaches are, and the Zerglings are streaming into the main base. They're cornering tanks, and there's really not that much stuff to do damage to this. There's really no ground army to speak of other than the heat-seeking missile, which looks like it's going to, oh, beautiful splitting from NesTea. He only loses a couple roaches to that. And it looks like with a combination of tanks and heat-seeking missiles, BratOk is going to be able to hold this. A couple of roaches stream into the base, but they're going to die very shortly to the siege tanks of BratOk. I really would have liked NesTea to maybe do a Nidus attack here onto the 5th or 6th of BratOk. He is doing a sort of a counter attack with a couple of Zerglings and Roaches, but against the planetary fortress, not going to do that much. There's also corruptors here. They're being point defense thrown, and there's actually heat-seeking missiles chasing after them. Beautiful splits there from NesTea. Oh no! He just brought them all back together. Unfortunately, it didn't kill them. However, it did do significant damage to the corruptors. We do see here, there's more of a battle going on. NesTea is slowly whittling down the army of BratOk, but BratOk is doing a very good job holding it up. He's actually increased in supply by about 20 with NesTea staying max, but this attack right here could break his back if he has a heat-seeking missile, which one of them will in 2 energy. It looks like, oh, here's a heat-seeking missile. It takes out almost all of the roaches. That is absolutely devastating. Ravens might need to be investigated in this matchup. They're pretty damn good. NesTea is actually suiciding corruptors in here. I think NesTea thinks he's more ahead than he actually is. but NesTea's up about 20 drones right now. There's a couple of, there's about 16, 17 roaches inside of here doing a lot of damage to the infrastructure of BratOk. He's taking out add-ons as much as he can, but with this big ball of ravens, 16 ravens with another 2 of them on the way, I think eventually this is going to be cleaned up, and he just has so many orbital commands and stuff that he's going to be able to hold this off. NesTea is sneaking 4 roaches into the 4th of BratOk. He's doing a little bit of damage to the economic damage there, and I think that a couple Banshees is exactly what what BratOk needs to take out these roaches, because right now he's just relying on auto turrets and heat-seeking missiles to take out the roaches, but the ravens are running out of energy, and NesTea is just streaming in more and more roaches, taking out the army of BratOk, and we'll see, I mean, things don't look good for BratOk. NesTea is just sort of in Sauron Zerg mode, to coin a term from Brood War, and it looks like this could be GG for BratOk. I suppose he has one last big push where he's going to take these 18 ravens and all of these Vikings and a couple Banshees and the siege tanks and do a big push and see if he can do significant damage to NesTea, but things are not looking good. BratOk's multitasking is failing, and though he's not repairing this until right now, it'll be interesting to see if NesTea can take it out. He's target firing the SCVs, it might fall. NesTea has another group of roaches here. He's focus firing the planetary fortress, but it looks like it's going to be safe. Meanwhile, the roaches at this 4th base were actually able to completely deny mining in terms of resources lost. NesTea has killed 67 workers, a lot of them at this base. He's now moving up to the 5th base, I guess, at the northeast, and he's going to be able to shut down. No, he's going to lose most of his roaches there. NesTea did actually take down the planetary fortress here. I'm kind of surprised there, and BratOk just seems to be being run ragged. He's just running around. I don't know if NesTea is doing really the right thing here with making Corruptors piecemeal. He should try to go into infestors to take out these clumped air units. That would be very effective, but I think that NesTea is going to be able to kill BratOk. He's again trying to take out this base right here. The only risk right now for NesTea is after he loses all of these units, if BratOk turns around and goes to attack NesTea's bases head on. NesTea is doing a beautiful job though with multi-pronged harass. I really like the fact that he's sending these small roach forces to take out these orbital commands that BratOk has. BratOk is down to just 41 harvesters, which means that without these mules, he's not going to be able to do significant, have a significant income. There's a couple Hellions trying to go in for harass, but it's not really doing that much. BratOk has also taken this base down in the southern part of the map, but again, it's almost a split map scenario, but I think that NesTea is doing a great job. It's 180 supply to 144, so I suppose that BratOk has held steady in supply, but I don't know how well this mass Raven strategy is going to work. I think NesTea should recognize what's going on, and with enough infestors, I think he can very, very easily just fungal this air army ball to death. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be going Roach Corruptor, and the Corruptors seem to be slower than the Raven's Heat-Seeking Missile, which means that Heat-Seeking Missiles can do terrible, terrible damage to them. NesTea is taking out these siege tanks. He's keeping the siege tank number very, very low. Really, all BratOk has to his name is this air army. Will it be enough? I don't know. NesTea continues to go and rip apart the infrastructure of BratOk. BratOk is relying completely on these auto turrets, which fortunately last about 4 minutes to take out these roaches. I really would like BratOk to transition into Banshees. It looks like he has one queued up, but some Banshees along with this would actually be very effective, because no anti-air is going to be really all that effective against this massive ball. Oh my god, we have 25 Ravens for BratOk, 7 Vikings, but like I was saying, no anti-air is going to be effective against that ball. NesTea is just running BratOk ragged. However, he's trying to deny mining again at this base. He's taking out a couple of mules. There's only these orbital commands are actually lifted. One of them is burning down because of the harassment of NesTea. NesTea is now going into a forest of auto turrets. All of these SCVs are actually not mining. They're still stuck on, they were like left over from when he was repairing the planetary fortress, but not on auto repair. Now they're repairing, and NesTea is forced to run away. BratOk is just running his air army around. He's just having everything on the same control group. I would really like to see, the heat-seeking missiles are going to take out the entire ball of NesTea. These Ravens, though, I'd really like to see them move around, maybe drop some auto turrets here, etc., deny the mining of NesTea, because right now, NesTea is just controlling everything. He's beautifully controlling the game. He's keeping BratOk on his side of the map. The one thing that's interesting is BratOk's supply keeps rising. I'm not sure how useful it is, though, because so much of it is in these Ravens. NesTea finally getting pathogen glands. I think he finally realizes what the appropriate course of action is. Interesting to note, though, is NesTea is very, very low on minerals. He has way too many drones here. I would think maybe Spore Crawlering up. Never thought I'd hear that said in a ZvT, but Spore Crawlering up in the middle around these bases might be good. Also some redistribution of drones over here. But NesTea is still denying these orbital commands from landing. So right now we have one orbital. We have 52 drones versus SCVs versus 93 drones. This base is mining rather nicely. We'll see if NesTea knows about it. It doesn't look like he does. He just found out with the Mutalisk. Oh, that Mutalisk is actually going to be able to do a lot of damage. But again, I don't think without Infestors, NesTea is going to be able to defeat this army. This is really weird by BratOk, but it seems to be working. I do like the constant Roach aggression, though, to take out whatever army, whatever infrastructure NesTea has. I also think maybe building a couple Mutalisks just to take these out might be effective, although I guess the quick-moving Air Force of BratOk is going to deny a lot of harassment. It looks like NesTea's income is about twice that of BratOk's, which is usually not something you want to see as a Terran. But it looks like BratOk is finally gearing up for the push. We have 5 Infestors coming out. I think those Infestors might be a little bit too late. It's 6 Infestors. It doesn't look like they're going to be out in time. 18 Roaches are also on their way. I think NesTea might have lost this. He just might have waited too long to get Pathogen Glands and get Infestors. He's now massing Auto Turrets. They're going to do a lot of damage, but he still has so much energy. He has right now 28 Ravens and 7 Vikings, the 2 Banshees to deal with the Roaches on the ground. I don't think that NesTea can handle this army. I think the Infestors are coming out too late. There are going to be 14 of them. So if BratOk does give NesTea the chance to regroup, which it does look like he's going to do, it might be effective. NesTea's running in, trying to take out the auto turrets, and that brings the army back over. Where are the Infestors? One Infestor is out there streaming out. NesTea, don't go in too early. Wait for all of them to come out. You're going to need to chain Fungal and do some incredible splitting a la Mutalisk from Bird War to hold this off. NesTea gets off a beautiful Fungal. Oh, he actually misses most of them. And the heat-seeking missiles are starting. Oh my god. Oh, 1, 2. 2 of the Infestors are going down. Oh, Infestors. Oh my god. No, two or three Infestors go down. The Fungals go down. Infested Terrans are tossed down. So this about big clump of these units is going to die. BratOk has lost about 30 supply. NesTea is losing Infestors to the heat-seeking missiles, but he still has 8 of them left. I think NesTea might have held this off, but I'm kind of disappointed that he didn't catch more of them with the Fungal. I mean, they were so grouped up. The Vikings and Ravens are just clustering like no other, but he's continuing to harass one of the last remaining mining bases of NesTea. He's probably going to be able to take it down with this. NesTea is not forcing the issue. The supplies, however, 200 to 154 for BratOk. BratOk now has very little. Oh, BratOk's income is now doubled, probably because of the mule. It looks like we have 9 mules tossed down, which isn't really all that surprising. He has a lot of orbital commands still. But NesTea needs to do some more harassment with this Mutalisk. BratOk is now moving to the last remaining mining base of NesTea. He moves in with all of the Infestors. He throws down a bunch of infested Terrans. I don't know how effective that's going to be. They're going to be taken down by the heat-seeking missile, and heat-seeking missiles go down on the Infestors. Almost all of them are dead. We'll see if these infested Terrans can do enough damage, but it doesn't look like it. The siege tanks and the Aliens are going to be able to take all of them down. NesTea now down in supply. He's making more Infestors, but he's almost broke. He's down to only about 200 gas, 200 minerals. I think NesTea will have to GG, and BratOk will have taken a game off of the god of Surge. What an impressive achievement by BratOk, doing some innovative play with mass Ravens, but I can't help but to think that this is more NesTea losing the game than BratOk actually winning the game. He just took far too long to actually get those Infestors out. If he had those maybe 5 minutes earlier, if he had about 15 Infestors with max energy, I think the Fungal growth would have been more than enough to take out this entire ball. But with the way that NesTea was playing, delaying it, doing the Roach counterattacks, not getting the Fungal growth, I think that just cost him the game. Right now, NesTea has absolutely no income, down to about 400 minerals per minute. He has no mining bases. BratOk has taken his half of the map as well as the north and south side. The supplies are 191 to 126. NesTea must be kicking himself. GG from NesTea. BratOk ties up the series.